How's it going, y'all? It's your boy Harrison. The topic of this video is the Bible and quantum theory, proving God through science. I'm going to be reading out of the New International Version Bible. If I'm not mistaken, this is like a 96 issue, but I'm going to be reading out the New International Bible for the layman. And I'm going to start us off with a quick Bible verse. In Dueteronomy 29:29 it says, "The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may obey all the words of this law." Now, what this means is that there are a lot of things that were revealed to humanity, and there are things which are solely known by God or solely known by heaven and God. And we are allowed to know certain things, but we're also not allowed to have or really practice any of them. For example, I could witness a murder. I could see a murder. I could know what a murder looks like. I could know what it sounds like. I could know what it smells like, I guess. But I'm not really allowed to go around murdering people or murder anyone at all. And that's really one of the things that enabled a lot of these avenues into extra biblical studies that I had, like this one right here. For those that don't know, quantum theory is a theoretical basis for the behavior of molecules and atoms on an atomic and subatomic level. It's also sometimes referred to as quantum physics or quantum mechanics. And there are a few laws in quantum theory that really correspond with biblical truth. And the first of which I suppose would be Hubble's law. Hubble's law states that the universe is expanding at an increment unbeknownst to mankind in all directions at all points in time. So if an individual was to go out in space and to look into the vastness of space, everything that's out there would seem to be getting farther and farther away from them. And believe it or not, this was spoken in the Bible by Jesus himself. In Luke chapter 26, verse 16, it says, "And besides all this, between us and you a great chasm has been fixed, so that those who want to go from here to you cannot, nor can anyone cross over from there to us." Now, for those that don't know, geographically speaking, a chasm is a large trench in the earth, but on a more macrocosmic level, it is a profound difference between. Meaning that there is a profound difference between heaven and hell, and it is really corresponds with the theory that the earth is a center plane between heaven and hell. Now, with that being said, a quantum theorist might argue, the Bible doesn't say anything about space. The Bible doesn't say or even note space, and that's not really true. There are several verses in the Bible that correspond to the theory of space. One of which would be Job 26 verse 7, which states, "He spreads out the northern skies over empty space, and he suspends the earth over nothing." This clearly states that the earth is hanging over nothing, empty space, just as any scientist will tell you, just like Bill Nye the Science Guy will tell you, or NASA will tell you. But 2,000 years, actually Job was written probably almost 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago this was said. And scientists may still refute a lot of Christian theology, saying that, Christians believe all this crazy stuff like talking donkeys and whatnot. And for them, I really don't think that they read the Bible. One group of people that I've seen recently is the Flat Earth Society, which is also not biblical at all. Because in Matthew 12:40, both in the New International Version and the King James Version, mind you, it says, "For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." For those that don't know, the heart is the core, the center. Hence phrases like the heart of the city. But an atheistic or scientific individual might also refute, creation, saying that, God couldn't have existed because, we have theories like the Big Bang Theory and all this other nonsense. And really, the Bible's explanation for creation is actually far more sufficient than the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory essentially states that the universe sprang forth from a singularity of nearly infinite energy, mass, and density, which really to me just kind of sounds like a interesting way of just saying God. It really just sounds like a means of objectifying God and making him sound like he's inanimate. But God is a living God, as everyone who's in the spirit knows. And there are two scriptures which the Bible has on creation, which I'm going to emphasize on. There are many, many scriptures on the creation of the earth. The first of which, naturally, would be Genesis 1 verse 1. Genesis 1 verse 1 states, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And this, to me, is a sufficient explanation that an intelligent creator mapped out everything that we have around us, gave us resources, gave us trees to breathe, gave us animals to eat, and gave us water to drink and air to breathe. That is a sufficient explanation that God made the heavens and the earth. And for those of you that don't know, heavens is archaic for the sky. It's not necessarily speaking on the realm of heaven in which the Lord dwells above. It's speaking on the heavens as in the sky, the cosmos, everything which is within our sight. Now, with that being said, there are other verses to go on the creation of the earth and the cosmos a little bit more in detail. One of which would be Nehemiah 9 verse 5, which states, "Blessed be your glorious name, and may it be exalted above all blessing and praise. You alone are the Lord. You made the heavens, even the highest heavens, and all their starry hosts, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to everything, and the multitudes of heaven worship you." Now this goes into a little bit of detail. It says that God mapped out the starry hosts, that he gave us all these things to eat, all this water to drink, and that he did all this just for us. And to continue refuting the Big Bang Theory with the Bible's comparable explanation, the Big Bang Theory really contradicts other laws of science, which are, one of which would be the law of the conservation of energy, which simply states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy in its most basic form cannot be created or destroyed. Now this is wherein lays a contradiction to the Big Bang Theory, being that if energy can neither be created or destroyed, it stands to reason that inanimate energy could never have formed in any existence, and to say otherwise entails a metaphysical or preter-scientific element to the existence of this singularity of infinite energy, mass, and density. In other words, for you to say that there was energy before our universe and that nothing created this energy is just a flat-out lie, because this energy could never have existed without something creating it. The only conceivable explanation is an intelligent creator who was and is and always will be. Just as in Revelations 1 verse 8 it states, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Lord God, who is and who was and who is to come, the Almighty." That is the most logical explanation. That God was and is and always will be, and he is forever. He will be the first, he will be the last. And that's all that there is to it. that the universe sprang forth from an imploding mass of infinite energy density does not necessarily even provide a sufficient explanation, because Hubble's law tells us that the universe is expanding in all directions, but energy moves on linear paths. So our universe couldn't be expanding in more than 360 degrees and be traveling in one straight direction at the same time. It's completely impossible. And moving right along, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle also makes it impossible for us to locate ourselves on this linear spectrum, should anyone even claim that it existed. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that you cannot know the position and the momentum of an energy wave simultaneously. As a matter of fact, the more accurate with one reading you are, the less accurate you'll be with the other. Because like many things, we are not necessarily supposed to know them. Returning back to Dueteronomy 29:29, this is a secret thing that belongs to the Lord. The Lord knows how to create and destroy energy. The Lord knows how to tell the position of an atom and all this other stuff. The Lord knows at which increment the universe is expanding. We don't. We're just not supposed to. And that's all that there really is to that at the end of the day. But, you know, the uncertainty behind everything has really left a lot of individuals seeking answers, and really been grounds for a lot of philosophy that's pretty interesting, some of which is totally counterproductive. One of these theories is the Schrodinger's cat theory, which simply states that if you are to take a cat and put it into a box with a booby trap to release some poison at a point in time that's undisclosed to you, is the cat dead or alive? This box is also see-proof, air or not see-through or translucent. It's airtight, and you have no way of seeing inside the box. Now, see, Schrodinger suggests that you must assume that the cat is both dead and alive. And for a long time, I thought that this was stupid, because, you know, there's a time when you do open the box and you find out, from a philosophy perspective, all things become known at one point in time or another, or most things become known at one point in time or another. And with that being said, I really kind of dubbed this the soul searcher's theory, because when you look at this and you apply Schrodinger's cat theory to a life event, or any kind of life theological or scientific exploration, you do have to assume more than one possibility in certain things. But it also causes for the exercising of prudence. For example, if you have this cat in this box and it has been 1 hour, would you say the cat is dead or alive? This is not a rhetorical question. Please answer. Okay, now if you put this cat in the box and you observe it for 1 week, is it dead or alive? See what I'm saying? One answer is indicative that the cat might be alive. One answer is indicative that the cat is almost most certainly dead. Now, you have to exercise prudence in your discernment. And that's why I call this the soul searcher's theory, because at one point in time when I didn't know where to go, and when I was looking around and I was looking at pagan and new age and atheist religions, I kind of accepted all of them, and by process of elimination, I knocked out, okay, paganism's stupid, this one's stupid, and this one's stupid. Not to necessarily disparage your religion, but the asininity that people put behind the Bible is not comparable to the doctrines of the polytheistic religions that are out there in the world today. Another interpretation on Schrodinger's belief would be the many worlds theory, which is essentially derivative of observing wave emissions of ionic particles, observing how an ion of one atomic mass or atomic number and another ion or isotope have different wave emissions, namely hydrogen. A hydrogen atom with 4 electrons might give off a different wave emission than a hydrogen atom with 1 electron. The many worlds interpretation, as professed by Everett, I believe his name was, he essentially states that any event, whether it be subatomic or historical or cosmic, perhaps did not occur in another timeline or another series of events. Now, I saved this for last intentionally because if you look through the facts that I've stated, I've presented you with 3 theories and 3 laws. The 3 laws: the Hubble's law, the law of the conservation of energy, and the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle is a little bit more of a conundrum or a paradox, but it does not seem like humanity is going to be solving it by the time the Earth implodes. And the 3 theories are the Big Bang theory, the Schrodinger's cat theory, and of course this many worlds theory. Also, if you want to include quantum theory, then please be my guest. But these 3 laws and their contradictory nature to the quantum theories that are professed really are more so indicative of an omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient creator, as opposed to, the spontaneity of, chaos theory. But this should really be indicative more so to individuals that there's really only one universe, that these events are linear and mapped out. A lot of people don't believe in coincidence. A lot of people believe that everything is planned. Some things are fate. Some things are destined to happen. Some people believe that we can shape our own destiny, and in believing that, it just fulfills our destiny. And that's essentially the manifestation of creation, that everything happens as it should happen. Everything happens as it should happen, and the universe corrects itself. If anything that shouldn't happen happens, the universe will handle it. Now, for us who are in the spirit, we believe that God has a plan. And, if he is, working on other universes and creations, that's none of our business. The same as with if it's just fate or destiny. It's really none of our business that what happens in any of these other timelines. None of these other timelines have crossed into ours. Nor have we crossed into any of these other timelines. That should really just say it all. At the end of it all, we really are the only timeline and the only universe, and we all have significance and something special to us. We might not have the significance that we want to have. We might not be as special as we think we are. But each and every one of us holds value in bringing forth the fruition of God's plan or the manifestation of fate and destiny, whichever way you choose to believe it. But truthfully, at the end of it all, these things are all indicative of the existence of an omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient creator. And, the Bible so too says in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 5 that We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. What I found in my extra biblical studies is really that, nothing's ever going to disprove the Bible. Scientific theories have been flipped throughout the centuries, throughout millennia. Science has been written and rewritten and all this other nonsense. Although the Bible has been altered, its truth has always remained. The essence of the Bible has always remained. And that essence is really righteousness and obedience to God, who is the creator, and to live procreative lives. Procreative lifestyles that are beneficent to those around us. And I really have always found that to be superior to the thought that it's all meaningless, and that your actions, and that you live in a vacuum and your actions don't affect anyone. Because they do. I've met hurt people who have had actions hurt them. I have hurt people who have been hurt by my actions that had nothing to do with them. They had no influence on these actions or anything, but my performing these actions hurt them. All things are one, and one thing is all. And that thing is Yahweh. Yahweh is all things, and we are all of Yahweh, I should say. And really, that's my conclusion on the matter. I hope that you found this informative, and that, I hope that somebody may seek to become proselytic, but aside from that, or that perhaps that I've reinforced your faith. Well, y'all have a good one now, and God bless.